City of Northglenn, Channel 8, keeping you informed of events in your community.
Welcome everyone to our April 9th regular City Council meeting. I would like to call the meeting to order, and Joanna, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Dodge?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Escobar?
Here.
Councilmember Sowers?
Here.
Councilmember Leidy?
Here.
Councilmember Downing?
Here.
Councilmember Brown will be absent. Councilmember Whitman will be absent. Councilmember Duran-Mullica?
Here.
Councilmember Wilford?
Here. Thank you. Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. City Manager, are there any responses to citizen inquiry?
No updates tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any agenda additions or deletions from council? None. All right. Well, we will move right into interviews. And first up is Kathleen Novak for the Northglenn Urban Renewal Authority. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
So I feel strange asking you to give us a little background on yourself, but why don't you share with people who may not know you? How's that
I am
sound?
happy to do so.
Thank you.
So I am literally a lifetime minus 6-month resident of the city of Northglenn. My parents were original homeowners. I have lived in wards 1, 3, and 4. I had the honor and pleasure of representing wards 1 and 4 on the Northglenn City Council and served 8 years as mayor. Early on, I started off my career, my political career, as a member of the Parks and Rec Board. I lived over here right next to E.B. Raines Park and wanted to get involved. And I remember having my arm twisted by,
Yes.
at that point, Councilwoman Downing, and kind of went on from there. So.
You can say Mayor Downing. You don't know how many times I say Mayor Downing.
I know, well.
8 years is a long time.
As long as you don't call me Mayor Novak again.
Exactly.
3 mayors in a room is a little scary, I think.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about why you're interested in, I mean, now you're actually changing roles on the Northglenn Urban Renewal Authority.
I'm interested in moving into a full membership on the Urban Renewal Authority because I think I could add a different perspective. So my very first night when I was sworn on council was the night the Northglenn Urban Renewal Authority was created. So I literally have been here from the beginning, but have taken the last 8 years off. I wanted to step fully away, didn't want to be looking over anybody's shoulder. We have elected officials. You didn't need a former kind of in the way. But now it's been great getting back in the saddle again, finding out what's going on. We all know that economic development is vital to our city's success. How do we do that in this changing world? How do we make sure that we're relevant and successful, bringing in the dollars that we need to provide the services? So I think I can provide kind of that older historical value, but I'm not as close to recently that I can also look with new eyes and perhaps ask questions that haven't been asked recently or perhaps add some perspective. And then I think my experience recently working at the Daniels College of Business, where we're very much involved with educating people, trying to keep up on the latest on what's going on in the business community, what are the trends. I hope to bring that to the position as well.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to open it up to questions from the council for Kathy. Wow.
Well, I just am glad that you are willing to come back and step forward and work with us again. So I'm excited. And definitely you gave me a lot of you know, as we went through. Jordan?
Just a comment.
Yeah.
I really want to thank you for your service to the Daniels College of Business as well. I think outside of Northglenn, your community perception in that role has been very well received by many. So I just
thank
want to
you.
give you a shout out for that one too.
That's nice, because you don't always hear it from the students, so.
Miss Linda Childers had mentioned your name
Oh,
recently.
oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Antonio, did you?
No.
Oh, I thought you were reading. I would say there isn't anyone more qualified than you to be on that, and thank you for asking to be a regular member, and we welcome you to that.
Well, thank you. You know, when I first got involved, it was because my children were young, and now I have grandchildren living in the city, which is kind of full circle. Isn't that kind of what we all hope for? So I want to make sure that we have a good, viable economy so that their children will eventually want to stay here as well. So
Thank you for joining us.
thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, we have another interview this evening. It is with Catherine Goff for the Citizens Affairs Board. Hey, Catherine.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hi.
I'm a little nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous. That's not true. Just tell us a little bit about living in Northglenn and your experience.
All right. I moved to Northglenn most recently about 8 years ago. My husband has lived in Northglenn about 3 years, before that, and I have had family members living in Northglenn since the about mid-'80s. So I'm a retired teacher from District 12, so I've had a lot of experience with the community and recognize the face. Since I was a teacher, I feel like I have a lot of experience dealing with a great variety of people from different backgrounds with different needs and different interests, different agendas, as whatever they come to the teacher about their child. And so I do feel like I have some ability to communicate well and to be diplomatic, and I'm really interested. I was on the Citizens, I'm probably going to say the name wrong, the advisory board for the rec center, and that has gotten me really interested in just what's going on with Northglenn right now. It seems pretty exciting, with all the growth and the changes and the new proposals, and so I thought it would be a chance to kind of get to know more about what's going on in my town.
So you did great. Does anyone have any questions for Catherine? Gordon?
I just have one. I guess I should address you as doctor.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I saw you have your PhD. Can you speak a little bit about what you got it in, your
Oh,
concentration?
sure. It was quite a few years ago now, but
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
I did my research on the use of technology in elementary school, the differences between boys and girls. Yeah. And I got the degree from UCD, was what it was called then.
Yeah.
And it was the Department of Educational Development and Innovation. So it was an eye-opener experience to step back, to take some time off and step back and observe in classrooms, not as the teacher. Yeah. And so there's a lot that goes on that when you're, standing up in front and thinking about the curriculum and, all the things you need to accomplish in the day that you don't notice unless you're sitting in the back of the room observing. So that's what it was about.
Yeah, well, congratulations, and we're lucky to have
Thank you. Thank you.
Julie.
We're really tied there. Okay, I just wanted to, mine is actually a comment, not a question, but I was with you on the Rec Center Advisory Committee, and, I love to see from your application how you've kind of gradually increased your commitment and your involvement in the city, and I think that this is a great next step, so I really appreciate you applying and willing to volunteer to work with us.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Dr. Goff, thank you so much for applying. It's great to have somebody who, like Councilmember Mullica said, has been a part of our committees for many years and truly cares a lot about this community. So as you're thinking a little bit about the Citizens Affairs Board, this is a board that's been, relatively inactive for a while. What ideas do you have? How do you see this? How do you see your service playing out for this board?
Well, I think I attended the meeting last week for the Citizens Affairs Board, and so I got to hear a little bit about what the history and what's been going on. And I did have a couple of ideas. One was to approach Northglenn High School, I don't know what they call it anymore, social studies, teachers, and to see if we can get some information to them and to their students. If any students are interested in government, how the government works, to participate. The other thing is, I know a lot of my neighbors, and I'm, not, and as a teacher, I certainly have gone door to door, trying to get certain things passed, or bonds or whatever that is, whatever they were. So I feel like the, more outreach is important, and I could see. I was one of those people that voted to keep the Citizens Affairs Board, even though I had no idea what it was, because I thought citizens should have a means to communicate, to the city council and officials. And now that I know what it is, and I also realize that people haven't been taking advantage of that, I do feel like there should be more ways to get that word out and encourage people.
Thank you for stepping up.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Catherine. I just want to say thank you for stepping up for a difficult job, and I think that your skills as a teacher and an advocate will go a long way, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Catherine, thank you so much. You did great, and thanks for bringing a new set of eyes to the Citizens Affairs Board. We welcome that. Okay, next are the proclamations. We have 4 this evening, so I am going to come down.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We're just using it.
Which one's first?
Yep.
Sorry. All right, the first proclamation is for Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in the state of Nebraska. And whereas 2018 is the 146th anniversary of the holiday, and Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees are a valuable natural resource that improve air and water quality, decrease energy costs, reduce stormwater runoff, decrease soil erosion, provide habitat for wildlife, reduces noise level, and adds to the natural beauty of the city. And whereas the city of Northglenn has been designated a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation for the past 27 years and is committed to managing and enhancing urban forestry in our community by employing staff dedicated to the city's tree program, actively maintaining public trees, and providing education and resources to residents. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Carol Dodge, Mayor of the City of Northglenn, Colorado, hereby proclaim April 19th, 2018 as Arbor Day in the City of Northglenn and urge all the citizens to celebrate Arbor Day by supporting efforts to plant, maintain, and protect trees and woodlands to promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated at Northglenn, Colorado, this 9th day of April 2018. And I believe we have Joel Szymanski here to receive this proclamation. Joel, I'm bad. What's your exact title? Because I would have said that, but I don't.
My exact title is Parks Maintenance Worker 3 with the Parks Department here at the City of Northglenn.
I would never have gathered that.
Thank you, Mayor Dodge. Thank you, Council. I would like to extend an invitation. I know Mayor Dodge will be joining us April 26th. It's a Thursday, Centennial Park, 10 a.m. I'd like to invite the rest of council and anyone here and viewing it at home, come out. We're going to have a nice tree planting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joel. Thank you.
Our second proclamation is for Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month. Whereas the City of Northglenn recognizes that child abuse and neglect is a serious and ongoing problem, and finding solutions depends on the involvement among people in the community to give abused and neglected children a chance for a safe and positive future. And whereas child abuse can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that can have lifelong consequences for victims of abuse. And whereas the City of Northglenn has dedicated individuals and organizations who work daily to counter the problem of child abuse. And whereas court-appointed special advocates for children, CASA, of Adams and Broomfield counties is central to fulfilling society's most fundamental obligation by making sure a qualified, passionate adult will protect a child's right to be safe, to be treated with dignity and respect, and to learn and grow in the security of a loving family. And whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that benefit children and families and work to prevent child abuse and neglect. And whereas the City of Northglenn supports CASA's mission of envisioning a future where every child in our community who has suffered from abuse and neglect will have a CASA advocate by the year 2020. Now, therefore, I, Carol Dodge, Mayor of the City of Northglenn, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2018 as Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month in the City of Northglenn and urge all residents to join together to raise awareness for those children fallen victim to abuse and neglect during the month of April and continuing throughout the year. Dated at Northglenn, Colorado, this 9th day of April 2018. And we have the CASA Executive Director, Lindsay Lehrman, here to receive this proclamation. Hi, Lindsay. How are you? It's so good to see you. Nice to see you. This is for you.
Oh, thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much, Mayor Dodge and all City Council members. This is one of the more enjoyable times in my position to come out and just see the entire city rally around CASA and all the municipalities in general. I have a few proclamations that I have on my calendar. April is a busy month for us, so thank you all so much for proclaiming April Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. I am just so excited to be here. For those of you, I know many of you are very familiar with CASA as the City of Northglenn is a fantastic supporter. But for those of you who may not be aware, CASA is a volunteer-based community organization that recruits, trains, and supervises community volunteers that advocate in the courtroom for the best interests of those children who have suffered from abuse and neglect. We currently have in the 17th Judicial District, 1,100 children that suffer from abuse and neglect each year. We have 220 CASA volunteers that advocate for 500 children, and so we are rapidly working towards recruiting an additional 200 volunteers to reach that number in need. In front of you, I have handed out our fiscal year 17 annual report. This is just a really great piece that dives deeper into the CASA history, the CASA stories. We have some really great highlights of children who have had wonderful stories because of their CASA advocates. So please take a look at that. In addition, we also have our Celebration Awards dinner and proclamation coming up. And so this is where we invite all the municipalities to come join us as we proclaim April Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month as well. So if you are free, we would love to have each of you join. I sent out an email about that as well. And then the other item that I wanted to mention is that we have our CASA Classic Golf Tournament coming up on Tuesday, May 15th at the Ranch Country Club. So if you're free, we would love to have you join and participate in a fun day. We have a double shotgun that we're doing, which is a morning and afternoon shotgun. So thank you all again for your incredible support and for rallying around the children in our community.
I have to make it a little personal because CASA is one of my favorite organizations, and you guys do such great work. One day, I know I've said this for years, it's on my bucket list, but maybe I'm not old enough for the bucket list yet, but one day I will be a CASA advocate for sure. So thank you for coming, Lindsay. Okay. Our third proclamation is for National Volunteer Recognition Week. Whereas our nation's heritage is based on citizen involvement and citizen participation, and volunteerism directly reflects the democratic principles upon which this nation was founded, and whereas volunteering for and in the City of Northglenn provides an opportunity for youth and adults to share skills and expertise with their community and make Northglenn a more desirable, beautiful, and safer place in which to live, work, and play. And whereas residents who volunteer their time provide a spirit of helping that multiplies in value when each person reaches out to assist another. And whereas the City of Northglenn is fortunate to have numerous individuals and groups that continue to unselfishly give their time, talent, services, and resources to benefit our residents. And whereas Northglenn's volunteers are one of our community's greatest assets, providing approximately 10,000 hours of service each year to city programs and projects, such as Park and Trail Partners, Snowstormers, Neighborhood Beautification Program, Bike Donation Program, boards and commissions, and to city departments. And whereas the City Council wishes to honor and extend our deepest gratitude to the dedicated residents of this community who give so freely of their valuable time for the benefit of the community. Now, therefore, I, Carol Dodge, the Mayor of City of Northglenn, you think I'd memorized that one by now, but I don't, do hereby proclaim the week of April 15th through the 21st, 2018 as National Volunteer Recognition Week in the City of Northglenn, and urge all residents and employees to join in recognizing the invaluable work that volunteers perform in our community. And members of the Northglenn Arts and Humanities Foundation are coming to accept the proclamation tonight, yes? I see a bunch of them out there. You all have to come up. And what about Jenny Murphy? Is Jenny Murphy coming? But you do so much to organize everything. I'm gonna give this to the prez.
I'll take it.
I know you want this.
Oh, that's so terrible. You're so terrible. This is just a very small example of what goes on in the city of Northglenn as far as volunteers are concerned. We are a shining example for sure, but there's just so many in this city, and I think Jenny Murphy can probably speak to that much more than I. I just want to mention who these people are. This is the Northglenn Arts and Humanities Foundation. We are a very hardworking group. We represent the arts and culture in this city, the theater, and the programs in the park, and so forth. Without Michael Stricker, we are nothing, but we just take direction and we give him ideas and boss him around a little bit once in a while. Our members are not all here, but the ones who are: Chandra Beziak, Kit Steffen, Sharon Whitman, Diane Lewis, and myself, Rosie Garner. So missing is Jill Parsons, who used to be a council member and is with the Northglenn Chorale. Donna Cole, who's with Northglenn Youth Theater. Jay Jaramillo, who is an active artist and a member of our group. And I think that is, and Jennifer Nevins, who's a landscape artist. So she has helped us a great deal with the sculpture garden. So we all work very hard. We all have a lot of skills, and combined, we're just unstoppable, frankly.
Thank you. Oh, and Tony. Yes, Tony's also a member. He's not here tonight. Thank you. Thank you all. And I currently serve as the council liaison to the NAHF, and I love every minute of it. It is a great, well-functioning board, so thank you for having me. All right, our last proclamation is for Denim Days. Whereas every day, women, men, and children across Colorado suffer the pain and trauma of sexual assault that is experienced by survivors and affects our Colorado communities. And whereas this crime occurs far too frequently, goes unreported too often, and leaves long-lasting physical and emotional scars. And whereas during National Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we recommit ourselves not only to lifting the veil of secrecy and shame surrounding sexual violence, but also to raising awareness, expanding support for victims, and strengthening our response. And whereas sexual violence affects individuals of all ages, backgrounds, and circumstances. And whereas as a nation, we share the responsibility for protecting each other from sexual assault, supporting victims when it does occur, and bringing perpetrators to justice. And whereas at the state level, we must work to provide necessary resources to victims of every circumstance, including medical attention, mental health services, relocation and housing assistance, and advocacy during the criminal justice process. And whereas Colorado communities can come together to increase awareness about sexual violence, decrease its frequency, hold offenders accountable, support victims, and heal lives. And whereas the City of Northglenn stands in solidarity with survivors. Now therefore I, Carol Dodge, Mayor of the City of Northglenn, do hereby proclaim April 25th, 2018 as Denim Days in the City of Northglenn and encourage everyone to show their support of the victims of sexual assault by wearing denim and participating in this show of international and statewide support of all the survivors of sexual assault. Dated at Northglenn, Colorado, this 9th day of April 2018. And we don't have anyone to oh, we do?
All in denim.
Well,
I love it.
well, I was not forewarned. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Laura Richards, and I've been working with the Me Too and all the different sexual assault awareness. Denim Day started in Italy, a little bit of the history behind it. What happened was this young 18-year-old was raped, and the offender ended up getting convicted, and he appealed the conviction. And the judge overturned the conviction, saying that there was no way he could have taken the jeans off himself without her help, and therefore it was consensual. The very next day, all the women in Italy in Parliament showed up wearing denim in support to state that I believe in the victims and I support the survivors of sexual assault. I'm a survivor myself. And I'm really happy to see that Northglenn is really ready to pitch in, and I can't wait to see your pictures. I brought the postcards with all the information. Everyone can go to coloradodenimday.org, sign up for teams, be it your coworkers, your friends, your family, anyone you want, and create your own teams and upload your own pictures sporting your denim in support of survivors and victims and helping us end sexual violence. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I give these to the city clerk. Laura, thanks for receiving that. And on April 25th, wear denim. Thank you. Take a deep breath. Okay, we have a presentation. Our first one is Tree City USA Award from the Colorado State Forest Service. So please, Joel, and I'm sorry I don't have your name, so please tell us your name.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nancy Klasky. I'm with the Colorado State Forest Service.
Hi, Nancy. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Bear with me. I've been on the wild side of forestry for a long time, and I'm just starting to get into the urban. So I have a little script here. I want to thank you, Mayor Dodge, and the council for having me here tonight and allowing for time on the agenda to present you your 28th Tree City USA Award to the City of Northglenn. The Arbor Day Foundation and the Colorado State Forest Service recognize that there's no automatic renewal for your Tree City USA Award. That 4 standards need to be met to be eligible. And the first one is a tree board or professional tree manager is hired by the community. You have to have a basic public tree care ordinance in place. A community forestry program spending at least $2 per capita on your urban forestry, and an Arbor Day observance, which you have mentioned already. We are glad to see that Northglenn continues to put emphasis and importance on this program. While aesthetic values are important, the support and investment you make in your urban trees do much more for your community. You mentioned many of them in the Arbor Day proclamation, which is conserving or saving money by conserving energy, increasing property values, and giving higher shopping district revenues to your city, as well as social benefits. It's been proven that there's greater community connection where there's more trees. There's reduced crime and overall health and well-being in your city. According to research done by the Arbor Day Foundation, 92% of the Americans recognize personal benefits of planting trees in their communities. Trees are improving neighborhoods and communities across the country and are the only infrastructure that actually increases in value over time. For cities that appreciate the benefits trees provide and dedicate themselves to caring for them, participation in the Tree City USA program ensures that their investment in community trees is profitable and long-lasting. We continue to learn more about these benefits that trees offer to our communities. And we want to thank you, Northglenn, for all the hard work and for making this program a priority. Congratulations on your Tree City USA recognition for 2018. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just really quick, I'll be brief. I'd like to plug Arbor Day again. That is one of the 4 standards. So it is an important part, and I'd really appreciate if people would come out and celebrate it with us. Again, it's April 26th, 10 a.m., Centennial Park. You know, as our world changes, as our city changes due to increased population and sprawl, the value of our urban forest becomes apparent. It's nice that there is this recognition that helps us make the correct choices when it comes to trees in our environment. So I would like to thank council, my fellow employees, and the city, the residents of the city of Northglenn for their support in our efforts of our Forestry and Parks Division. Thank you.
Thanks, Joel. Thank you to you and the park staff, because we truly do have beautiful trees enough. You cannot deny that. So thank you so much. And what year was this of this award?
I believe 28? 28
wow.
years.
28 years. That's amazing. So we'll see you next year for 29.
I'll see you at Arbor Day.
Thank
you.
At 10 a.m. At 10 a.m. Be there. All right. Our next presentation is on the Adams County Arts and Cultural Master Plan.
Good evening, Mayor. Gabriel Rodriguez, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, the rest of City Council. I want to thank you for placing me on your agenda. I am honored to be here today just to present what Adams County is doing around our first ever Art and Culture Master Plan. Quickly to give a background as to how the Adams County got to this Art and Culture Master Plan. A couple years ago, the Adams County Cultural Council, which helps fund all of our Tier 3 organizations here in Adams County, they sent a letter to the Board of County Commissioners stating that we think it is imperative that Adams County do something about art and culture in not only our communities that those members lived at, but as a county as a whole. And the county commissioners took that to heart and said, okay, let's do something about that. So they decided to form a task force. And I was actually started my internship with Adams County. That was my first time actually interacting on a task force at that level. And some of those recommendations came out one was a master plan. So this past year, Adams County hired a consultant, and we had members, some here in the audience and in front of me now, to help staff that master plan steering committee and come up with the vision, mission, and strategies of how the county could help out. See, county is a little bit different. Sometimes county government, we don't have the necessary great theaters that you have, that Michael runs. We have different things, and there was always the question of where does the county fit around art and culture. So we got together with a lot of meetings, a lot of great discussions about how does the county fit in art and culture. And we really came up with a great vision statement. I have to give credit to the vision of the county itself, which is Adams County is the most innovative and inclusive county in all America for all families and businesses. So we, as the Master Plan Steering Committee, took that and said, okay, how do we move forward with that? And the vision that we came for art and culture is Adams County is an inclusive community where everyone has the opportunity to enjoy a rich diversity of art and cultural experiences. As you know, Adams County is probably one of the fastest growing counties in Colorado. Our population is increasing. There's more houses going up everywhere. I live in Brighton, and every time I turn around, there's a new housing development. I'm like, well, there was no houses there this week. But, you know, next week there'll probably be houses, and when I drive by, there's houses going up. So I'm like, well, I guess Brighton is growing, Adams County is growing, but how do we capture that? How do we say we're going to include everybody? And I think that vision really set off the motion of 4 really great things that the county can help out with our partners at the city and what we can do at the county, and that's create, connect, promote, and leverage. How do we create those opportunities for the county's diverse, growing population? I have a little son, he's 5, I have a daughter 18 months, and my wife was pregnant with our third child. We're gonna have another little boy in June. And I'm starting to sense, okay, when I take my son to these parks, what else is he gonna wanna learn? What else is he gonna wanna do? I'm getting to that to where he wants to go do things, and now it's a chance of, instead of driving to Denver, how do I stay in Adams County? How do I take him, instead of an hour commute, how is it 20, 30-minute commute? How do I get him to Northglenn to see a show? And then connect. How do we connect artists, art, and cultural organizations in the county to help out one another? I rely on Michael a lot to kind of hear what's going along I-25 and what Northglenn's doing. And to me, this is where the county comes in and say, okay, how do we connect with those cities that are doing those programmings, those day-to-day activities with all their citizens? Mayor, you just had 4 proclamations. It's direct connection with the citizens, and it's at that grassroots level, I think, that we can really have an impact on citizens' lives in the art and culture. A press release got released last week in March from Colorado Creative Industry that it was $13.7 billion the art and culture communities gave into economic drivers for the state of Colorado. It was higher than mining and transportation for the state of Colorado this year. $13.7 billion. Art and culture is very, very important to Colorado, and it's very important to Adams County. The next thing would be promote and leverage, and I think that's where the county fits in really well. How can we help promote what we have, the Adams County Riverdale Regional Park, and how do we promote everybody's events that are happening in the cities? Again, you have that direct connection with the citizens. How do we promote that? How do we grow that base into a new base? How do we take those new families that are moving in, like myself, with those young children that are saying, okay, what else can I do for my kids? And then how do we leverage the county's park and recreational assets by enhancing our arts and culture experiences in those locations? The county commissioners just approved the renaming of the Adams County Regional Park. It's now the Riverdale Regional Park. They just approved the master plan, which identifies $95 million in assets just in the Riverdale Regional Park. And it's really saying that's our token. That's what we have that is regional, that can really reach out there and host those huge events. And how do we grow that? And I think really promoting and leveraging our regional park is really going to enhance what we provide to the table for art and culture, in a sense, for Adams County. It was a great opportunity to work with all the citizens. I'll tell you right now, Michael is a wonderful person. I call him all the time to ask questions. It's no stupid question to me because I feel like Michael has the answer. If not, he gets back to me and he tells me, and I go, okay, I'm a little bit smarter now, and that's how I feel after I get done talking to him. So I would be happy. It's very high level of what I want to bring to you, and I just really wanted to open up for questions if I can address anything or answer anything for you.
All right, questions? Julie?
I know this is a high-level picture that you presented tonight, and I'm noticing on one of the bullet points on page 5, you talk about inclusivity, and I would really just kind of want to get a sense of, as you have discussed moving forward, what kind of programs and things you would support, how has cultural diversity been a priority, and especially since, Adams County has about 40% Hispanic population, how are you incorporating those aspects into the work?
Right, so great question. I would say from the Adams County perspective is we recently hired a Dennis Swain, our cultural diversity inclusion administrator, and he teaches a cultural humility class. And he addresses some of those concerns about, you talk about culture at the workplace, it's different than your culture at home and your culture in your community of where you work at. So I think from Adams County's perspective is from county government is we actually hired somebody. We actually have somebody now to train those classes. Our county manager has created people and culture service area to where it just focuses on people and culture. And the commissioners have really put an emphasis on that. And for my perspective for art and culture is if they're not doing a programming from the SCFD side, if they're not doing a programming in Adams County, I want to know why and how we can get that programming into Adams County. Our Adams County SCFD guidelines are very open for all organizations, Tier 3, to come in, and it's saying, how do we get your program into Adams County? And have the meetings here at the Northglenn City Hall, so thank you very much for that. Every time an organization comes here, like, yeah, we love coming to Adams County, like, great. Do you want to move here? I know people. I'll get you a great deal. I can't really get them a great deal, but I tell them that to come in to Adams County. I usually start along I-25, Northglenn area, so hopefully there's space available. But I really think that it's about having an open conversation with somebody. The Adams County Fair has one day, just a Hispanic Day for Sunday, and it's a great turnout. It's probably 25,000 people. That's the most well-attended event on the fair is Sunday because of that. And it's not just saying, okay, well, we'll just, cater to one group. It's no, let's celebrate everybody's diversity. I spent 8 years in the Marine Corps, got to travel around the world. Everybody has a different culture, and that's okay, but let's celebrate that, and let's figure out how to bring that culture to the table and actually learn something from somebody else. So I think it's a great question, and it's just asking the question of saying, how do we get you to come and do an event here? Even if it's one time, let's just do it one time and see. I don't think we have any lakes large enough for Colorado Dragon Boat Festival here in Adams County, but we should maybe build some really big lakes and move them from Denver to Adams County.
I think Rains Park will work really well for that.
We'll look at that. When they come interview now, I'll put that in there. Hey, you should move it to Northglenn and see what we can do.
Great.
Any other questions?
So, just Gabe, along those lines, maybe you could talk a little bit about how the council promotes the different towns in promoting the different organizations to go maybe to Bennett and, all the different areas.
Yes, ma'am. Great question. So the Adams County Cultural Council, they're not, oh, I just care about my town. I just care about my area. They're saying, no, how is Adams County benefiting from this? And the first place everybody asks is Bennett and Strasburg. They're part of Adams County. They're out there on the other side of DIA, but they're part of Adams County. And we've had great participation of organizations saying, we've never been out there, and I write it on my notes, okay, they've never been there, they want to know. And I start making phone calls. And I say, these are organizations that are out there now. This is how you link up with them, and this is how the program you go out there. We have a great relationship with the city manager out there. We're going out there for Bennett Days to try to promote more art and culture for Bennett Days in September. And it's not, again, the county's job isn't just to promote one, city, municipality over other. It's basically from east to west, north to south. You're in Adams County. How do we promote your organization? How do we promote your town or what you're doing? But it's a constant struggle to get people out there, I would say. So they think getting on 76 is going really, really far, that it has to be on I-25. I'm like, no, 76 is actually really good to drive on. So, but that's just me.
All right. Any other questions? Gabe, actually, I would like to ask you, so the regional park right now has a lot of really diverse buildings for different types of events. In your plan, what are you looking at for the future? Are you looking at adding a certain type of building to attract a certain type of event, or what's missing that you would like to see?
Everything's missing. No, no, we have some great facilities there. They're just in dire need of renovation and being able to hold these large crowds that are coming in. Really, if you focus on that, where the fairgrounds is at, we really want to do a new grandstand event, indoor, outdoor arena, exhibit halls. Down south of that, where our new animal shelter is going in, the county manager with the county commissioners are really in talks with a variety of SCFD organizations to try to relocate there, to say, how do we promote more art and culture in Adams County in itself? And I think some of those conversations are going to lead to more things, and I think it's just taking what we have and enhancing it. And that I think that right there would really drive maybe more numbers out there and really increase what everybody's doing here. I mean, the city of Northglenn's doing a great job when it comes to promoting art and culture. So I think other cities are going to start following in suit of what you are doing here, and I think you're only going to see that $13.7 billion number increase, and I think it's going to increase a lot more in Adams County. No one can build down in Denver. They should just come to Adams County.
So can you talk a little bit about the new department that is kind of overseeing all of this in Adams County?
Just from the Office of Cultural Affairs perspective. So it's a department of just me, just one right now, and that's it. But the master plan What's great about the master plan is we had great citizens on there to identify that this position is just one person, and to really grow and promote it, you're going to need more than just one person. You can, great plan, but if the plan just sits on the shelf, if it just sits on my iPad and I pull up every now and then to talk to people, come before city council, that it's not really doing anything. So really they said, let's figure out a staffing and let's figure out what's the next steps to really grow this, and how do we take it from the grassroots level, how do we take it here, and how do we get it to the next? How do we take it from JV to varsity, and how do we move the needle on that? But just an office of one, but I will show up when asked.
All right, thank you. Well, thank you, Gabe.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gabe.
Thank you for the presentation tonight. I also would like to thank Joyce Downing and Michael Stricker for serving on the steering committee, because they were definitely giving some great input to you. I've heard about some of the meetings, so.
They had really
glad
great
they were there.
input, so
Yes,
I'm very happy that they both attended.
All right, well,
Well,
thank you.
just thanks, Gabe, for hanging in there, because I know we're a challenge sometimes.
No, you're not. Thank you so much, appreciate
Thank you,
it.
have a good evening. All right, we will move to public invited to be heard, 5 minutes per speaker. Statements shall be related to city business and limited to matters of community interest. And I do have a sign-in sheet with some names on tonight, so I think I'll just have these you're not on the sign-in sheet. You go last.
Do I have to sign in?
Well, oh, you're there, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Way to throw it all off.
I'm sorry.
Throw it all off.
I just want, Rosie Garner, longtime Northglenn resident, Ward 4. This is quite the night for me, because we started out with a potential nominee for NURA, and we've talked a lot about arts and culture tonight. And thirdly, we've talked about our trees in Northglenn and the beautiful canopy of trees we have in this city. And I just want to, I'm here just to urge you to continue the Magnificent Tree Program and to put in a plug for it. And I want to thank Jenny Murphy for making sure that happens every year, and it's been going, we're in our 10th year, 11th year actually. So just let's keep doing that. The residents love it. They get a free water bill in August if they win, and it's just a great program for the city. And we have so many trees to choose from, so I just want to put in a plug. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so I would like to call Laura Richards. Would you like to come forward? Oh, I don't think. Okay. Jesse Holt?
Waking up.
I know. Hello. How are you?
I'm fine.
It's good to see you.
Thank you.
You just introduce yourself and
Madam Mayor,
commence.
esteemed council. I'm here in a small group of others to, well, first of all, my name's Jesse Holt. As you know, I'm a long-time homeowner in Northglenn. And I'm here to support the new rec center and senior center. I've been using them on a regular basis, 3, 4, 5 days a week for over 20 years. And I think it's about time we got some new facilities and expanded it. I am aware that there are a lot of people that are against this project simply because of the amount of money involved. But my answer to that is and always has been that these are the people that never use it, you know, and they never come by even in the middle of the daytime when the rec center and all the facilities are completely full, you know. So if many of them have never even been in the center. So, you know, everything is negative simply because of the cost of the building. They don't give any thought about anything else, but they are very helpful to this community, and I think it's time, considering that the surrounding cities have all built big, fancy, beautiful facilities, like Thornton has 2 or 3 of them now, all brand new, all new equipment, all new everything that people desire. In our small city, I realize we're doing the best we can, but I hate to say it, but we have been stagnant for just too long. And I think we need to move forward. We need to have something to attract new people and get the younger people, when they do come in, to use these facilities and expand the whole city and the whole concept of our beautiful little city here. You know, many of them have no concept of what is available to them. You know, so I think we need to promote it well, and once we get it built, what I have seen of the plans surrounding the whole thing, they look like good, sensible plans to me. The development of the surrounding area, the uses, the new uses, and the income from that, I believe, would help a lot as far as the financing goes. And I think it's a great idea, and I'm totally for it. Thank you very much for listening to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, next on our list is Joe Dunn.
Hello. Thank you for allowing me to come here. My name's Joe Dunn. I am a longtime resident of Northglenn. I've been here about 29 years. And when I started, I worked downtown. I could hardly wait to retire. I retired 12 years ago and headed straight for the senior center, the rec center. I absolutely love it. It has become my home. I'm there 5 days a week now. 3 days a week I teach Tai Chi. I lead the group, and we have kind of a special dispensation at the senior center. I don't know if I'd be allowed to say this, but we have something called silver sneakers for us old guys, and we swipe our cards. Therefore, we don't have to pay the fee to have the class. I'm a volunteer, so I don't get paid, so we're very fortunate in that anybody who can swipe their card gets to take my Tai Chi class. I am passionate about Tai Chi. I'm passionate about exercise. I'm 78 years old. And I believe you've got to keep moving to keep moving. So I implore you to please vote for this new rec center. We need it absolutely desperately. Today I was teaching a class up there, and it was a big class. The smallest class I've had is about 5. One day, about 6 weeks ago, we had a class of 34. Trying to cram them into the senior center was nearly impossible. Today, I had to take the new people that came into the class back in that little area behind the kitchen counter that's outside and the closet doors, and I had to teach the class in that little space. That's pretty tough. We need more room for the rec center. If we're not going to grow, that's fine. Keep it the way it is if we're not going to grow as a city. If we're going to grow, let's get up with the times. All righty? I thank you very much.
Thank you.
And if you get bored, come to my Tai Chi class. 9:30, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'll be there.
If I can look as beautiful as you at 78, I will do Tai Chi. How's that sound?
Thank you. Please come.
Thank you.
I'm trying to get the chief of police there, too, by the way.
Oh, there you go. Good luck
to call out. Chief May.
All right. And then I also have Shirley Harris on the list. Hi, Shirley. Would you like to come up?
You'll have to be patient with me. This is my first council meeting. I'm so active. I'm so glad and so excited about being out here in Northglenn, Colorado. I have my oldest daughter's been out here about 31, 32 years. I'm glad that the Northglenn Center is open. I wasn't anywhere near as active in the senior center in Indianapolis than what I am out here. I moved out here, it will be 6 years ago in June, this coming June. And I met Jo, and she got me into Tai Chi. When I moved out here, I weighed 164 pounds. I'm down to 119. Wow. So Tai Chi pays off. And I'll be 80 in November. Wow. I've fallen 2 or 3 times since I've been out here in the almost 6 years. No broken bones yet. My daughter is so excited about me being active with the senior center, and I am so glad it is here, and the people that are involved in it. I know when I started Tai Chi, it seemed like it was maybe 10, 12 people when I started. I think we had 22 or 24 last Friday. Nice. So it's growing. We need a space. I'm a hugger. I like to hug people. I like to greet them. Me and another lady has been elected to history. Mm-hmm. Taking pictures of different activities and being involved in that. And I'm excited about that. My first opportunity. I've always been a shy person. Can you imagine?
I can't imagine
it. I think the groundskeepers are doing a terrific job. And I don't know if you probably know Marty over at the center. I think he does a fantastic job of keeping everything spiffy. There's so many activities at the center. I'm so glad to be a part of it. My daughter is no longer working as of November the 1st, and I've got her into it. And she and I are getting active in the crafts. I am glad to be able to go on the tours that they have, like the art tours, and going to the, I'm trying to think, where they had the cars and the trains and all the historical things. My daughter likes a workout room. Like the sculpture tours and other tours possible. Have received a letter for jury duty, so I'm going to investigate in that. Have taken part in voter participation and of the possible new center and surrounding activities it will be representing. I didn't know I was going to speak when I came. Watching the progress of the new police department over I-25 and Community Drive. Like I said, this is my first council meeting and interested in being at the next one. So appreciate what Northglenn Center and Northglenn has to offer. And I want to get more involved, and I'm involved in CPAN, or I joined CPAN since I've been out here. I didn't have these opportunities in Indianapolis. Right. So you're a smaller city, but more involved. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being involved.
You're a great salesperson for the activities at the rec center and the senior center mostly, but that was great. Okay, so was there anybody who didn't sign the list that wants to come forward? Yes, please come forward.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Good evening to all of you. My name is Karen Knipfer. I've been here 36 years. And it was amazing to have all these senior center people come above and speak to you how it's needed. But there's the little guys too. So I have grandkids that I would love to bring them here to the rec center. There's not really a lot of opportunities for them. So we go to the Broomfield Rec Center, do different things like that. So I want to just put in a word for the younger guys too. The space is very limited, and we do need a bigger place for everyone to enjoy. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward? Okay, thank you all for your comments on the rec center. We appreciate all of that. I can't remember the last time we had public invited to be heard. Okay. Next is Legislative Policy Committee update. Is there one tonight?
Thank you, Mayor. No, there's nothing that we've brought up for you to consider tonight, but I think one of the things the Policy Committee talked about was that Mr. Wilson, our lobbyist, starting next week is going to start providing a short summary of what we discuss each week. So I know it's very late in the session, but we think that's probably a relevant piece. I know we're sending out kind of what we're going to be talking about, but then we don't provide that summary. So we'll just do that via email. But I'd defer to the committee members if they have anything else they wanted to bring up for tonight.
No, nothing new tonight.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you. And next is the financial report with Jason Loveland. Hi, Jason.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the February 2018 update. Being such a short time into the year, it's kind of hard to identify any trends, good or bad. And the executive summary kind of touches on that a little bit, so this will be fairly brief. Feel free to ask questions. Yay. Thank you.
I was like, I'm ready.
It's good to be loved.
All right. We're going to get into a whole Tai Chi revenue conversation. Next meeting, we'll bring that forward. I don't have the information at my fingertips, otherwise we would talk about that. So first off, 1 month of collections for sales and use tax. We're up 3% on the year. Again, hard to see any trending that way. You know, last year at this time we were down 5% and ended up about plus 3%. So it's always better to be going up than down. So the plus 3% is a positive for sure. In the general fund, year-to-date revenues are at $1.9 million. That's a small decrease due to the timing of some receipts that we typically get. Year-to-date expenditures in the fund are at $3.3 million. Those are consistent. You know, we kind of looked at some analytics on each of the departments that we provide on page 3 of the report. There's some one-time expenditures for things like the website redesign, the CRM system, those are impacting city manager's department and technology. So those numbers look a little bit skewed, but there's reasons behind those. In the water and wastewater fund, we have an increase of 10% with our revenues. Part of that is the rate increase that was implemented that began in January. The rate increase was about 6.7%. And then consumption was actually up for the first couple of months of the year, about 6%. I looked ahead to the first quarter, and consumption is down 3%. So January, February looks a little higher. You get extended out one more month into March, and consumption was actually down 3% on the year. So nothing really to note on that. I guess other than the restricted revenues for debt service, which is our food tax, is up a little over 11%. So that's a positive thing. Year-to-date expenditures in that fund are at $2.5 million. that's an increase of about 10% over the prior year. That's typically due to the large projects, headworks and clarifier, and just the timing of those payments that are being made. And then in the stormwater fund, year-to-date revenues total about $46,000, steady over the prior year when you look out a few months. And year-to-date expenditures are at just over $50,000, which is what we've planned and budgeted for through the first couple of months of the year. And then in the sanitation fund, year-to-date revenues just over $200,000, which is a decrease of 11%. Again, timing regarding the sanitation fund. And then year-to-date expenditures within that fund are at $185,000. And nothing, timing of some inventory purchases can skew the expenditures, within the first couple of months. And then on page 7 of the finance report, our investment earnings, or not, I wish these were our earnings. This is what we have invested, $58.9 million, and that's up $4.6 million from the same time last year. And then on page 10, the geographic areas, this is where we really try to look at the snapshot of the different areas in town. Really hard to identify trends again, but just wanted to focus on that, places, the marketplace, Northglenn Greens, the Malley Center, all having our largest centers are all trending upward compared to last year at this time. So that's a good sign for our economy here in Northglenn for the first month of the year through January's tax collection. So with that, that was the short, sweet 2-month report, and I can answer any questions if you have any.
Questions for Jason? Antonio?
Yes, on the wastewater fund, we're in the red both January and February. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Are you looking at the cash?
Page 7.
Page 7. Yeah, so that wastewater fund and water fund, the water fund is supporting some of the wastewater fund at this time. We actually, for accounting purposes, we have it broken out separately, but really those fees within the fund are combined. So the net of those, I guess, is the real number that we're looking at for the cash in the water and wastewater fund, which is $12 million. So the large headworks and clarifier project specific to wastewater, that project's around $13 million project that began in 2014. So over time, the expenses specific to that capital project, kind of turn that into the red on the sewer side of things.
Is that a pattern going to continue to grow as we see in January and February?
No, that should actually be catching itself back up. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You have a question?
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Jason. All right, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
Joanna, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and the consent agenda passes unanimously.
Thank you. Resolutions. Our first one is CR 52. Joanna, would you read the title, please?
A resolution approving an agreement between the City of Northglenn and Veris Environmental LLC for the 2018 wastewater treatment plant biosolids loading, hauling, and disposal services.
Thank you.
Second.
Jim?
Thank you, Mayor, and members of council. Again, this is a contract consideration for the biosolids removal from the lagoons at the wastewater treatment plant. Annually, as part of our normal operations, we generate between 750 and 1,300 dry tons of biosolids annually. And so those need to be removed, and they're really used as beneficial reuse for fertilizer, soil conditioner at contractor-approved sites. And so we did a bid process for this, and in March, we did only receive one bid. The city accepted the bid from the sole bidder, Veris Environmental, in the amount of $392.80 per ton. And this project would be funded from the property services account within the wastewater fund, which was allocated $300,000 for 2018. So we recommend approval of the resolution in an amount not to exceed $300,000 and a contract with Veris Environmental. And Mr. Reeling and Mr. Weber are here to answer any additional questions they may have as well.
Okay. Any questions? Well, I kind of want to ask a question. So with the decommissioning of the lagoons, is this going away then eventually, or are we doing something that I'm not comprehending?
I believe so, and Ray probably knows better than I do, but I think
Okay.
that eventually that will go away because now that we have the headworks, we won't have that
Right,
issue.
okay, so we
But
won't have
Ray
this.
can probably explain a little bit better.
Okay, hi Ray.
Good evening,
Good
Mayor,
to see
Council.
you.
The primary lagoons have been removed, they're empty, but we still have the biosolids lagoons. So in the master plan, we talk about removing those and go to some kind of biosolids handling, like a digester, anaerobic, or aerobic, in order to handle those. So that's down the road.
Okay, so the biosolids is going to remain.
We still store them, well, we don't store them. We actually treat them up in the biosolids lagoon, in those two lagoons that sit to the north. And then during the year, we take and remove enough, so we have room. We land apply that to ag, okay, they primarily for field corn and wheat.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I'm just wondering if it's going to be less since we're doing a different process.
It would
up
take
there.
another project to put in the digesters and all those things that Ray was talking about
Okay.
in order for us to handle those biosolids on site.
And
Which
that's
is down
not
the road.
included, or
Which
it
is
is
down
in
the
our
road.
plan
It
down
is
the
not
road?
included. It's not funded
included.
right now, but
Got
it
it.
is something we've thought about going forward in the future.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. All right, any other questions? Hearing none. Joanna, would you open the vote, please?
Vote is open.
Thanks, Rob. Please vote.
Close that vote, and CR 52 passes unanimously.
Thank you. All right, we are moving to CR 54. Joanna, would you read the title, please?
A resolution authorizing the city's purchase of property generally located at West 112th Avenue and Cherokee Street, and authorizing the city manager to execute the necessary documents to complete the transaction.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. We're asking you to consider tonight a purchase and sale agreement between the City of Northglenn and City of Westminster for the acquisition of a parcel of land located between the Northglenn Justice Center and the property we acquired for the Justice Center West Park, which again is just to the west of here. The City of Westminster owned this parcel of land, and the original intent was they were going to build a water tank on that property. We sold it to them in 1999 for $83,700, which was the appraised value at that point. However, Westminster since that time has located their tank in another location in their city, and they do not need that property anymore. So we found it as a critical piece of land, even though it's very small, to make sure we link the Justice Center and the new park site. So we went through a process which took quite a while actually working through that with their city, and we got an appraisal done. So the property that we would be buying back from them is the same property, but it'd be for $62,238. So $21,000 less than what we sold it for. The City of Westminster has already approved of this, and so with your action tonight that we can finalize this transaction. And we do recommend approval, and Mr. Weber is here to answer additional questions you may have.
Thank you. Are there questions? Antonio?
Yes, looking at the legal description on page 9 of 11, can you tell me where the Justice Center sits, where the water towers sit?
They're not on that map because.
I know.
Yeah, they sit to the east of it. So
It's like you're buying a piece of pie, but you can't see this pie.
Right. The Justice Center and the water towers sit to the east. The water tower is just a little bit to the south and east.
It would be helpful to have that, I think,
Just
for
for
all of
reference-
us,
just for a
to be
reference
able to
point.
see that,
Sure.
so that we know where. I drive by there and I look and I say, well, there's a lot of land to the west.
Right,
Is
yeah.
it the part that's fenced? Is the part that's outside the fence?
I think, well, it is the part that's in the fence that was used for some temporary parking during the Justice Center project. So it's that area to the west side of the Justice Center that's in that fence. A portion of that is that property that we're talking about.
So we'll move the fence in?
Well, that fence will be gone once the Justice Center's there. That's just temporary fencing.
No, I meant the fence for the towers.
Oh, no, those will stay. Those will stay.
Okay, so it's west of that fence?
Yes,
or
I'm just talking about the temporary fencing that's
northwest of
on
that fence?
Northwest of that
Thank you.
fence is, yes,
That's
exactly.
my point.
Yes, thank you.
None of us know.
Okay.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say none of us.
Okay, any other questions? Okay,
Thank
hearing none. Joanna, would you open the vote, please? Thank you, Rob.
Vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CR 54 passes unanimously.
Thank you. We will move to CR 55. Joanna, please.
A resolution approving a professional services agreement between the City of Northglenn and DHM Design Corporation for the Justice Center Park, West Park Phase 1 Master Plan Project.
Move to approve. Second. Jim, please.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. Again, this is somewhat related to the prior approval. We're seeking approval of the attached contract with DHM Design for the completion of the Justice Center West Park Master Plan. In June of 2016, City Council authorized the purchase of a 3.4 acre parcel of land, which is essentially all the property west of the tanks, all the way down to the detention pond on the lower west end of the site near Global Village Academy. The working name right now is Justice Center West Park due to its proximity to the Justice Center, but any official name considerations could be brought forward to the Parks and Recreation Board pursuant to the naming policy that we have, which has been adopted by City Council. The reason this is in front of you tonight, even though it's below $50,000 and below my spending authority, is because the funds in the amount of $300,000 are allocated in the 2018 budget for this project. And we anticipate that this will be the concept plan, public outreach plan phase of the project, and then we would do a change order presumably at some point in the future, which would far exceed $50,000. So we do recommend approval of this, CR 55, which would authorize the mayor to execute the professional services agreement between the city and DHM Design in the amount of $33,450. And Ms. Peterson is here to answer any additional questions you may have.
Are there any questions? Jenny.
Thank you. As I'm looking at the range in the proposals, one, it looks like the lowest was $33,745, and the highest was $94,950. And I'm just wondering, why is there such a huge gap between the highest and the lowest?
Amanda coming forward on that one.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As proposals, each of those firms is providing us, although the same work, a different number of hours that they think that it'll take to get that work done. They have different hourly rates. DHM, who we selected, had amongst the lowest hourly rates as compared to some of the other firms that proposed. So there was some variation across, but I wouldn't say it was anything outside of what we typically see in those type of proposals.
And is DHM a local company? Where are they from?
They're based in Denver, so they are a Colorado company. They are not a Northglenn business, but we did not receive any bids from Northglenn businesses specifically.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Ma'am.
None? Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
Joanna, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I'll close that vote, and CR 55 passes unanimously.
Thank you. We'll move to CR 56. Joanna, please.
A resolution accepting the final report for the facility, programming, and staffing assessment for a new recreation center, senior center, and theater.
Move to approve.
Second.
Jim, please.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. BRS, Barker Rinker Seacat, as part of their team, has provided the final report for the facility programming staffing assessment for the new recreation center. You saw that final report a few weeks ago. We are seeking formal acceptance of this final report as an affirmation to move forward with the project. And there is some detail, of course, in the plan here, or in the packet outlining the summary document that you saw, I think, a few weeks ago. I also want to take this opportunity. Councilmember Whitman wanted me to read a statement into the record. She was not able to attend tonight due to a conflict, but if I could just for a moment. So while I'm not able to attend tonight's meeting to vote yes on moving the Northglenn Recreation Center forward, I would like to express my gratitude to the other community members who volunteered their time, staff, and our team of consultants. It's great to see the collaboration and thoughtfulness in what is no doubt a massive project for the city of Northglenn. I'm excited at the path both past and current council has created for a new recreation center. As the plans continue to take shape, I also hope to see a feature within the rec center that is unique to Northglenn, and we don't reinvent a recreation center and amenities found in our neighboring communities. Investing in a new recreation center should also put Northglenn as a destination and innovative community. And so with that, we do recommend approval of the resolution, and Ms. Peterson is here to answer any additional questions you may have.
Thank you. Question?
I just have one question for you, Jim. You said that approving this is affirmation to move forward?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? No? Well, I have to read something, and just because I don't speak as eloquently off the cuff, that is for sure. If you've heard me speak, I have to just say what I wrote earlier this afternoon. I think this is our opportunity to spark some new life into the community, and we have a chance to start the first phase of the Civic Campus tonight. It's going to be a catalyst for future development on this site. The new rec, senior center, and theater will energize the area, attract people of all demographics to connect with their neighbors, and instead of hearing people say they never use the rec facility, which is what we hear, what you kind of alluded to a little bit, they're going to say, oh my God, have you gone to the Northglenn Rec Center? It has wonderful amenities. The senior center offers great programs for our seniors and in a great space. And the theater continues to offer amazing programming. I am definitely not afraid to vote yes on this project because I fully believe in forward thinking for future generations, something that sometimes Northglenn I don't think is done in the past. I think it's a great legacy for this council to say we voted yes to make this happen in our community and make this a viable place and a lively place to be. It's a kickoff to the Civic Campus, and people will also want to hang out at the Civic Campus. So I just want to thank the residents for all the input that you gave, the consultants who shared the vision and really staffed all the work that was integral to getting us to this point with this project. So in case you haven't caught on yet, I'm a yes on this vote. Thank you very much. That's it. Okay. So anybody else want to? Jordan?
Just kind of going off your points, and we had our award meeting on Saturday, and there was a lot of support to move forward with this project. So I'm really glad to vote yes, and thank you for being here tonight to share your experiences as well. And we can't wait to attend one of your classes.
Okay. Jenny?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have been thinking quite a bit about this vote. This feels like one of the bigger votes that I'm taking right now, especially as a new council member. And, you know, I think back a lot to the time where I knocked on doors and heard directly from community members. And, you know, there were a handful of folks who said, no, we don't want to see this project move forward. But what I heard time and time again from folks were that they really wanted to see this project move forward. And I heard that a lot of times from younger residents with young families. And I think about the family that I'm growing here in this community, and I think about how, you know, right now we don't spend a whole lot of time at the rec center because there's just not that much for a 2-year-old. And I look at the plans that have been so thoughtfully created, created, and I think there's really something for everyone. I've been really anxious about the amount of money that we're going to be investing into this project, and it's not a small amount of money. I think about all of the other work that we could be doing, fixing roads, you know, wastewater management, but I really think that this is the right thing to do for the community. We have a young population, our demographics are changing, and you know, for me, this project feels like a game changer for our community. It really feels like we're heading in the right direction, and having a new recreation center as phase 1 and then building out the other phases. I feel like we're going to be creating a downtown and a gathering space that our community just hasn't had. And I think that's a future that we can all be really proud of. So I'm happy to vote yes and to invest in our community that deserves to be invested in. Thank you.
And I'm gonna echo a lot of what was said, but For me personally, this project was one of my main reasons why I wanted to run for city council, is because I believe that a new rec center just would bring so much prosperity to our community and just revitalize our neighborhood. And that's why I participated in the Citizens Advisory Committee that went along with this. The process that the consultants and staff did to get outreach, to really hear what the community wanted and needed to see, it was amazing. It was beyond anything I would have ever expected. And so they definitely met my expectations. Plus, I mean, I'm sure everyone on the committee who served with me, I mean, it was just a great interactive way to get involved and to get a good sense of what we really wanted to see in our community. So I'm definitely.
Antonio?
And I want to thank every member who participated in, I want to thank them for all their hard work, and no offense to my friends who are seniors. I'm a senior. They use the rec center, I don't. My concern is that it's $53 million for phase one, for a population of 38,000. That is more than $1 million per resident we're going to be putting into this construction. We have infrastructure in this city that needs to be fixed. We can't seem to find the money to fix a few things that need to be fixed, but we can find $53 million over the next 20 to 25 years with money that is marked out of taxes that aren't guaranteed. No city should really rely on taxes to run their city. You know, it's one thing to get sales tax, but marijuana, Jeff Sessions could move in here tomorrow with his FBI and close everybody down. There goes your 2%. Yes, we have state rights and so on, but you're going to be tied up legally in courts for years. I personally am going to vote no on this one and the following one for that reason. My constituency has said 4-1. They don't want it. Had this gone to a vote, I wouldn't have any problem with it. Winner takes all. But we're not voting. We had less than 2% participation. 2% of the population participated in the study. Less than 2%. And yet we're moving forward and investing $53 million that we don't have. This is money that's going to be coming. We don't have this money to invest. So my apologies to my friends and the seniors in the community, but I'm a no vote.
Thank you. Joyce? So I will echo all the positive comments that happened a minute ago, because throughout the years since I've been serving on council, even though we had a couple of votes, you know, ballot issues that didn't pass. They were very, very close, and there was such a disappointment that the recreation center did not go forward, and I'm hearing more and more all the time. We have young families that are coming in, they don't have any place to take their families, and we want to keep them in Northglenn and provide these type of things for our new families. So I'm definitely a yes vote, as well as I'm so excited about the theater. Michael always knows that I'm telling him, put another seat in, always, you know, 200 seats, 300 seats. You know, that's going to draw people to come to Northglenn, and it is a destination. So there you go.
Well, I guess I get a turn. I just said dittoed. But really, you know, like Julie mentioned, that was one of the reasons I ran for city council. I have 2 kids, and unfortunately, we have been using other cities' resources because they have more opportunities for kids. And so it's something that I'm really, really, really excited about. And I'm so thankful that we have a senior committee or a community that came to speak to that, because that's, I think, a secret gem in our city is our senior center and how active our seniors are. I don't see that in other cities, and so I think it's kind of a little secret. And so if we can take care of you, that's what I would do.
comments. All right. So I would be remiss if I didn't address that a little bit, I guess. My feeling on it is that the funding has been identified. I feel like we're doing a darn good job, and we've invested more in our infrastructure for doing road repairs. I think that if we don't take this step, we're never going to take the step. And I feel like it puts us back so far, and I want to move forward. Cities are investing in their infrastructure. This is a huge project for this area of the campus. And I just see it as a catalyst for the rest of the development. I think if you build it, they will come. That's so stupid to say, but I think it's true. And I think that the private sector will get interested in this once they see activity here. And I see good things. And I really want to look down the road and not just right in the here and now. For the city, I think it's the best thing ever. So I'm very on board. And that's all I'll say now. Anybody else? No? Joanna, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I will close that vote, and CR 56 passes with 1 no vote cast by Councilman Mayor Pro Tem Escobar.
Thank you. Okay. I don't hear any cheering back there. Come on. All of you guys. Thank you. Thank you. All right, well, we're not done. We have CR 57. Joanna, would you read the title, please?
A resolution approving a professional services agreement between the City of Northglenn and Project One Integrated Services, LLC, for program and project management services for the implementation of Phase 1 of the Civic Center Master Plan.
Move to approve. Second.
Jim?
Thank you, Mayor. Now, members of council. Again, we're recommending approval of a resolution to award a professional services agreement to Project One for program and project management services associated with implementation of Phase 1 of the Civic Campus Master Plan. Last week at this study session, I talked about the amount of staff that are involved in this project, and it's only going to increase in terms of the complexity and the time and resources that staff will need to be putting into the project. So, several months ago, I brought up the idea of carving out 1 to 2% of the $53 million for program management services. And so we completed a procurement in the last few months that led us to Project One and the contract that's before you tonight. On the first and second page of the memo, there's some essential task elements that we're going to be counting on this company to help us with. A couple representatives are here tonight. And I just want to talk about the process that we followed because I think that's important. We did a two-step approach. So first we did a request for qualifications and cast a very wide net to try to get various firms to submit. When we did that, we had a selection committee which included myself, Mr. Weber, Mr. Svoboda, Ms. Peterson, Mr. Loveland, Kent Kisselman, City Engineer Becky Smith, Eric Enzi, and Dana Kester. All those people are involved in the project and will continue on. We looked at the following criteria: team organization and qualifications, program approach and methodology, firm experience, and then the technical merit of the RFQ. After that, we switched to an RFP where it was more of a quote-based, where we would actually get a hard number from each of the firms. So we shortlisted 4 firms for that, and then we looked at the additional criteria once we received those proposals. Looking at the project approach, the project team, clearly their experience, how they worked together in the past, references, which we did call and follow up on. Happy to report this firm has an 85% repeat business rate of the companies that they've worked for and cities, and compatibility, because we're going to be working arm in arm with this team over the next 2 to 3 years to implement this. We want to make sure there'll be a good fit with them and our staff. Their original proposal was around $600,000, which was much lower actually than some of the other firms we had looked at. And so after we had selected them, we actually had a scoping meeting where we spent a couple hours identifying some of the areas that we thought they maybe could enhance in the areas of communications. We also had them revise some things down that we didn't necessarily think we needed. And we came up with a contract price of $881,980, which was right in the 1% to 2% range that we expected. And so the contract is a not to exceed amount, and it is included again as part of the $53 million program, so this will not be increasing the budget. This will be, again, part of the management of the whole program. And we do recommend approval of this resolution here tonight. Mr. Weber and Ms. Peterson, Mr. Loveland, we're all here to answer any questions you may have about the process as well.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? No. Well, I have a question. Are you from Project One in the back? Yes. I was wondering if you could share maybe a little bit of your experience in doing have you done a rec center project before? What types of projects do you do this for? Just a little bit of a background of your company. Thank you.
Sure. So my name is Steve Sissio, and this is Jack Christensen.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the Director of Municipal and Civil Infrastructure work for our company. Project One was started in 1999. So we've been doing work with municipalities across the Front Range for about 20 years. We work with a lot of your neighbors from just next door, Thornton. We're doing their IMC fleet facility. We've worked with Castle Rock, Aurora, Denver, kind of all the local municipalities. We do projects from $1 million to $500 million. So large-scale building projects and large-scale civil infrastructure projects. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Would you like to add anything?
Questions? Just maybe a couple other topics here, and it's very exciting to see the excitement in the room and interest. And I think one of the things that really invigorates us is civic and municipal projects where you can see the community members using the facilities when they're completed. And so we're super passionate and understand the process of utilizing every dollar for the most sort of bang for the buck. And we do a lot of work with nonprofit organizations which have similar charges to really be diligent about how money's spent on the project. And so we really feel like that's one of the things that is first and foremost in our roles and responsibilities, is to make sure that the budget stays the budget, and hopefully we can bring this thing in less than that. And I think, as Jim had mentioned, our contract is not a lump sum, and that's what we're going to get. We're going to do our services and bill for what those services are, and so we find ourselves as stewards of the money as well. So thank you for having us tonight.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Are there any questions while they're still up with us, Julie?
I have a quick question. So in number 16, it says engagement as one of the program manager tasks. I was curious, what have you typically done about engagement? Specifically, it says outline a plan for engaging the public and city council about the project. What are you guys kind of thinking, or what have you done in the past for public engagement?
Well, so I think the first thing we wanted to do is really thoroughly explore what's been done thus far. It's obvious that there's been a lot of work and effort and blood and sweat and tears put into this, and so we don't want to come in and clean slate, but we really want to take inventory and understand the processes, what went well, what didn't go well, and then really work together with the staff as well as bringing community engagement folks on board to really continue that effort and make sure. I mean, there's a lot of great input tonight on the senior center. I heard a lot of stuff about younger children and kids, and so our goal is really to make sure that we're engaging the community and partnering with the staff and the city and doing so that we really do at the end of the day have a very consensus on what this facility needs to be and what it wants to be. So.
And just to add, so we added CIG to our team and Susan Stanton. So two kind of consultants that are sort of specialized in public engagement. We felt that that was such an important piece to this that we wanted to have the experts in that on our team. So they're on our team as well to facilitate a lot of that.
Great. That's good to hear. I think, as you may have heard in this room, we had a really strong community engagement process with this, and we want to keep that momentum going and making sure that, you know, our community is fully aware of, you know, any status updates or any kind of feedback that they could give. Or
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Gentlemen, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay, no questions. Joanna, would you open the vote, please?
The vote is open.
Thank you. Would you please vote?
I'll close that vote, and CR 57 passes with 1 no vote cast by Mayor Pro Tem Escobar.
Thank you. All right, we will move to a discussion item of the 2019 budget calendar. Jason?
All right, as our auditors are here wrapping up 2017, we're going to talk about 2019. So if I mix up some years, I apologize. I'm working in 3 different areas now. Each year, in accordance with Section 8.2 of the, or 8.2 of the Charter, we'll submit a budget. Part of the budget process is presenting a budget calendar to City Council to kind of get feedback, input on the calendar. The second page of the memo kind of has the budget calendar attached. And really the point of this is just to kind of highlight and bullet specific dates and kind of months of when we'll be tackling the budget. As you can see, we're at April 9th, where we're presenting the calendar. Future dates of importance specifically for council are August 6th will be the first time that we'll formally present the budget. August 20th, staff will come forward and speak about individual department budgets. And then you can see September and October really kind of the meat of the budget season when we're kind of making final revisions to the budget, have a public hearing on October 8th, and then adopt by resolution on October 22nd, the budget for 2019. And February 3rd was really the kind of the kickoff when council and staff meet and discuss, you know, the plans, vision, goals that kind of set forth the priorities as we move forward in developing the budget. So you can see, you know, basically from February through October is kind of budget season, if you will. So there's really no off season when it comes to the budget. So the process that we take is similar to a lot of communities, and we'll establish revenue projections from those revenues. If we don't have revenues to fund projects, they don't happen. Once we get some preliminary estimates of what funds we'll have available, any new dollar that's spent is a formal request that goes through the city manager for vetting. And those should be aligning with the priorities that council has set from the February 3rd, and then again, you know, April 2nd when we touch base. Those priorities, projects and operational, you know, end up being kind of ranked and again vetted and aligned with the vision that you all have set. So, is there any questions or discussion? It's a long process, and we'll talk in a lot more detail. The point of tonight's discussion is really just to show you the calendar for the year so that you guys can highlight those meetings that you don't want to miss to talk about budget.
All of them. All of them. We don't want to miss any.
And then after that, we can just discuss anything that you guys would like. So that is all that I had for the budget discussion. If you guys had anything else.
Questions on the calendar?
Thank you for planning out my year in 2019.
Absolutely. We try to do that, I guess. Mine's planned too.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Jason.
All right. Thank you.
All right, we'll move to communications. I will start on this end tonight, Jenny.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Okay, a couple of updates from me. One, I went to the Historic Preservation Commission meeting last Wednesday with Councilmember Downing, and we met at the Old Stone Hawker Farmhouse, and it was really fun to take a look at a couple of pieces that had been donated to the commission as possible items that we could keep in the house and try and figure out where they would go and whether or not they met our time period. Additionally, we had some really great conversations around how do we move forward with community engagement in terms of designating local sites, and I'll let the Councilmember Downing over there talk a little bit more about that. And then on Saturday, members of the Parks and Rec Advisory Board toured our local greenhouse, which we share with Westminster and the Butterfly Pavilion. And it was really incredible to see the cedar that our staff person uses. I believe his name is Sean, is that right? Ben, wow, I knocked that one out of the park. Sorry, Ben, if you're listening. It was a great tour. But anyway, it was really cool to watch how he does the seeds and how, you know, they start really tiny and then he moves them into bigger and bigger planters, which consequently take up more and more space in the greenhouse. And it was really neat to see his process as well as learn about how all of our beautiful flowers are created and move forward for the city every year. So thanks to all of the Parks and Rec Advisory Board members who joined us for that. It was a lot of fun. I unfortunately will not be able to attend the next Park and Rec Advisory Board meeting as I'll be out of town for work. And then the last thing I wanted, two more things. One, congrats, Councilmember Leidy, on your very first board meeting. Yay. Congratulations. I'm sure you'll tell us all about it. And then the very last thing I wanted to note is the fact that our snowpack is really low right now. It's only 72% of average, so that for those folks out there who don't love math, we're 28% behind where we should be. And so I really want every resident, every person in this room to really think about what you are doing to conserve water right now and throughout the summer months. And I have a couple of different ideas for you that I wanted to share. So one, you can buy a rain barrel. This is a really great way to collect rainwater and use it in your garden and in your lawn. And that was adopted and made legal a couple of years via the state legislature. So they're available at Lowe's, which is a local Northglenn business. You can also invest in low water plants. There's currently a $25 discount for residents who want to buy a garden in a box, and that information is online on our website. You can also upgrade your toilets. Just so folks know, a leaky toilet can use upwards of 30 to 50 gallons per day. And if you think about all of the potentially leaky toilets we have in Northglenn, that's a whole lot of water. Plus there are some rebates for high efficiency toilets. And then my final suggestion is to start thinking about your shower schedule. So maybe on the days, maybe you only shower on the days that you go to Tai Chi. And you don't shower the other days. So I thank you, Madam Mayor, for the opportunity to share, and I hope everybody will think through what they can do to conserve a little bit more water for our community.
Thank you. Julie?
I only have one thing I'd like to talk about tonight, and it's actually a huge shout out to Ms. Peterson and the Parks and Rec team. Thank you for getting the activity guide out so early. You guys beat every other city that around us. I'm planned for my summer. I'm set and ready to go. So my kids are going to have lots of fun this summer. So make sure everyone checks out the activity guide. There's lots of great things going on at the Rec Center and throughout the community. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have a couple of things. On the 31st, I attended Coffee with the Mayor at Atlanta Bread. That was, as always in Ward 4, a huge success.
It was Coffee with the Mayor. It wasn't Coffee with the Mayor in Ward 4. There were other people there too. Come on.
But it was a huge success.
It was a good one. It was good.
I'm on your side. I was there. Support you. Thank you. On the 5th of April, I attended the Adams 12 Summit. The summit is designed to gather the community, teachers and staff to define, shape the future of what's important for Adams 12 and the students going forward. There were basically 7 categories: 21st century learning, and those in education say, oh my God, I gotta hear about that again. But it wasn't the top of the line. Outside the classroom learning was at the top of the list, diverse learning on top of the list, safe schools. There was a lot of talk about safe schools. And in spite of the high schools currently having an SRO, there's no way to lock down a high school in Adams 12. There's no absolute way to lock it down. That was a big priority for those who participated. Social-emotional learning, you know, how our kids are able to process information and then communicate that information, and world-class staff. Number one on the list, world-class staff. Reduce the number of students in the classroom, increase teacher pay. Got the most, as we do the little green dots, they got the most little green dots. So it was very educational. I really admire what Chris Kadowski's doing in Adams 12. He's in his 9th year, and you know, graduation rate has grown, particularly for Hispanic kids, from 50 to 80%, 30% increase since he took over. That's huge. I know he didn't do it, but his leadership did it. Your leadership runs the city. We don't run the city. Your leadership. That's all I have. Thank you.
Antonio, thank you for participating in that Elevate, because that was really an important program, and I didn't have time to participate, so I'm glad that you got to give some input, because that was really a great outreach that they did. Kind of in tandem with Volunteer Recognition Week, which is next week, I believe, today I spent my morning with a couple serving Meals on Wheels. And Joyce, you have done Meals on Wheels forever, so thank you so much for volunteering to do that. And the couple that I spent the day with, or the morning with, was Lance and Deborah, and they have a Northglenn route. So we went to 20 homes in Northglenn, and some of the residents I knew, and most of them were in Ward 1. So it was just, it's very eye-opening and humbling to do something like that, and what a great thing all those volunteers do who do serve Meals on Wheels. Yeah, it was just a really great thing to do. I'm so glad that I participated in that. And also, I did have the Coffee with the Mayor, Saturday edition. It was good. It was well attended. Chief May knocked it out of the park. He really fielded a ton of questions, so I was really glad to have him there that day. So it was good. The next one's Pizza with the Mayor, April 18th, 6:30 at Perry's Pizza. So we'll try a nighttime one and see if we can get some younger you know, family people there, because always missing at Coffee with the Mayor. So Pizza with the Mayor, we'll see what happens.
That's it? Okay. Just a couple things to kind of piggyback on what Jenny was talking about from the Historic Commission's side. We are looking at different areas of the city to determine if the community in that area is interested in any type of historic designation. So we're still working on how that looks. You know, we're not quite sure yet. And also, just to let everybody know that St. Stephen's Church is eligible for designation. That came back from the state just recently. So we're going to be moving forward with that in tandem also. So there's a lot of different little projects going on. I know that Alan, our staff liaison, is just like, we can only do one at a time, you know. And we're going, no, you know, just it's okay, we'll help you, you know. So, and so more to come, because I don't want to talk too much about it, because we really don't have all the plans laid. But there'll be something coming in the summer, for sure. Also, just to let everybody know, April 25th, Ward 2 is going to have a meeting, and it'll be over at the M&O. And some things that we'll be talking about we decided zoning, since we had that big discussion, and it would be very, very good to have, as well as Justice Center and some other things. So,
yeah. Meredith?
Just a small bird walk. It is possible to figure out how to lock down a high school, and I will be reaching out to Chris. But, it is an inconvenience, but it's possible, and it should happen. So, a couple things. Yeah, that irritates me.
No, I was just, never mind.
It is a possibility. So a couple things. Our Ward 1 meeting was amazing. It was so fun. It was great to meet everyone, but a huge thank you to Rob, who came, and Nate, and Jim, and my gracious board mate, Jordan, was so nice and kind. It was a lovely afternoon. We had sunshine, and we were at the Glen, and it was just awesome. But I'll let her speak to the details on that. Couple things for the outside agency funding committee met this afternoon or this evening. And there's a couple things I want to ask and see if you're interested in doing. There's an organization called Almost Home, and they are doing the Spring Out of Homelessness Gala on Friday, May 18th. So our committee has a small budget, and we've been using it periodically already this year. We would like to participate at the $500 level, which provides tickets for 2 people. So that can be 2 council members or a council member at a date. Doesn't matter. So if you're interested, let Joanna know right away. That's May 18th, Friday. It's a great organization. We do want to support them, and we can set aside $500 for that. And then the second one is Food for Hope, which provides support for students that are homeless and need food. About 14,000 students in the Adams 12 school district really depend on school for their nutrition. And so this is an organization that helps with that. And so we are hoping to also spend $500 toward this organization that provides a table up to 8 guests. And so that's on April 26th. If you're interested, let Joanna know. If we want to open that table to other people, we can do that as well. If we don't fill it, we can throw it back to the organization. So that's another one that is definitely in my heart, and I will probably be going to that. So come with me and have fun. Thank you. Sorry?
In that case, I'm in. You're
okay. Yes.
I had yet you're going. Those are both really good organizations, so that's good. Okay. Gordon?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just want to echo Councilmember Leidy's comments on our Ward 1 meeting. We tried something new by doing it on a Saturday to see if we had an increase in attendance, which I think that we did. It was really nice to see new families that have moved to the area come out and say their concerns or voice their questions about Northglenn and how excited they are to be here. In addition, the staff, the only person that we missed was Commander Lopez, who had a ton of questions, so they were very thankful to have the police department out there to have those conversations. But thank you, staff, for spending your Saturday with us. I know it's hard to come out and away from your families on the weekends as well. But to Councilmember Leidy, on your first one, I think you were. Yeah. Secondly, I just really wanted to give a shout out and a congratulations to the 2018 Daniels Fund Scholars. We have one out of Northglenn High School. Her name is Tiffany Ann Marie Deeds. So congratulations. We'll be reaching out to you to see if you'd like to grab coffee or something. As we know, the Daniels Fund is an incredible opportunity for us to be able to go to school. I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for Mr. Bill Daniels and the Daniels Fund. And Councilmember Mullica was also a Daniels Fund Scholar as well, so I know that he's very excited about it as well. I think that's it for me. Thank you, Mayor.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to correct my statement, if I may.
It was it.
No, the idea that they can't lock down the school, what I meant to say was that they can lock down the classrooms. That's easy. It's the kids that are in the hallway, the kids that are out at lunch, the kids that are out walking around campus. Because it's an open campus, it's a very difficult thing to do. So I take back what I said, that there's no way they can do it. It's just very difficult. Thank you.
Is there a rebuttal on that one this time?
The whole thing.
No,
things are better now.
Okay. I will get the superintendent a call. We'll sort it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joanna, you have anything tonight?
I do. I'd like to just provide a brief report on the Citizens Affairs Board meeting. You heard earlier from Catherine Goff, who is a board applicant, and she attended the meeting. It was held on Wednesday, April 4th. And that night, we welcomed the new members that council has met recently, and that's Jenny Ketterling and Heather Palage. So we are very excited to have these new members on the board. Their participation is obviously essential to the board functioning. All three residents they displayed a great desire to want to reach out to the community and to make the board's presence known, like literally. They had some great ideas that they talked about, including attending city events and wearing Citizens Affairs Board t-shirts or buttons to help people connect and approach them and just make it known that the board exists and that we can be a resource to residents. So I also shared some of the discussion from the recent council study session on the council retreat, where it was maybe suggested that the board could do some work related to an inclusivity committee. All of the members are very eager to contribute. So that was great to hear. And from there, we just look forward to hearing council's discussion about how you might want to utilize that board differently. But we're very pleased at where we are, and I think we're headed in a great direction. So thank you.
Good news, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
All right. Jim?
Nothing really tonight. I did attend the Ward 1 meeting, and I'm going to wear a hat next time. So a little sunburn. But no, it was a good event. I think we got a lot of good feedback from the residents that night. So thank you.
Well, thank you for coming out to get some sunshine.
Hoffman?
I would just note that Mr. Hayes was chastised by the city's risk manager for failing to use personal protective equipment. Nothing else.
I didn't get much sun.
Slap on the wrist. And I actually would just also like to address, very important vote that we made tonight. It was really important. Council, I'm so glad that everybody was brave enough to take that step, because it's really, I think it's going to be so great for the community. We all agree to disagree.
You only get one vote.
I respect your opinion. I mean, it's a huge undertaking. I totally understand. So, but I'm just very glad that we did vote to move and get it going. Yay. Okay, that's it. So now, public invited to be heard. Would anyone like to come forward? 3 minutes per speaker. Statements related to an item previously addressed by council during the meeting. You guys don't want to come up and cheerlead now that you got we heard you loud and clear.
We're doing the cheerleading
No?
dance.
Okay, well, thank you. All right, well, seeing no one come forward, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a big meeting. It was a good meeting.